Hola a todos.
Having a lecture after Karim gives a lot of the responsibility, and I didn't plan this. But I'm a Jew. I come from a family of 2 Holocaust survivors. My grandmother survived Auschwitz, and my grandfather survived Mauthausen. On the other side, I come from a family of doctors. My father, ophthalmologist, and everybody else, psychiatrist. So what did I learn? From one side, there is a huge pain, there is injustice, and there is huge trauma. And on the other side, there is healing, there is a new side, and there is a new path. And I believe in it. I believe in humanity, and I have instilled it in everything I do. So I have devoted my life to work with children, to teach them on how to be reminded on the values we all care, on how to speak about really vulnerable topics, how to speak about sexual abuse, physical abuse, racial abuse, violence, but in a child-appropriate way. And this is where the Twisted Tales TV takes place. Does it work? Yeah. In a world of wonders, tales take flight. Twisted tales, a canvas bright, tales rewritten, heart set free. Join the journey, come with me. Because what I'm going to speak about is a completely new education and entertainment program, a program for kids. So what do? We speak about tales on love, courage, and empathy. And how do we do it? So we choose familiar tales we all know about, like Cinderella, the one we were brought up. But how do we speak about it? I dislike the old fairy tales. Why? Because of their morals that are so questionable. If I really analyze Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, what do they speak about? They speak about us, women, waiting in a castle to be saved by a rich white male. Nah, I don't want it. And for the boys, oh my gosh, Superman, Spider-Man, all with superpowers. And all I want is a real life. So what do? We twist them in a way that we put messages that we want our children to be grown up. So we challenge them. We speak and we break the stereotypes. We destigmatize and we teach about diversity, social values, and about acceptance, and about how all we, different genders, different opinions, different colors of skin, different religion, need to live together, cohabitate with all the full respect. And how do we do it? Oops, right? We do it together with children. So what I love is always to design a method, a frame in which participation can happen in a way that I just design this space, but that belongs to the children. So I don't speak on behalf of them. I don't tell them what to do. I don't ask them. I'm not in a school like where they would expect to be asked and really trying to, please me. No, we give them a space, a voice in which we just empower them and we act as a tool so they can achieve what they want. And how do we do it? With the help of the technology. So I also instill everything what I love. And I love technology because it's full of surprises. And I also believe that we cannot forbid the children what the reality is, but we need to find a way on how to use this technology in a way that is appropriate for a child. It's about digital literacy, and it's about co-creation. Guys, I need help. we had a little bit of challenge with my videos, and I want to switch to another slide. And then this one, and this one, and it's why. And I said it. I want to foster, I'm a dreamer at the end, but I want to foster a society free of discrimination and stigmatization. I don't want to be blamed for who I am. I want all the respect that anyone can give. So who is it for? Who is this environment for? Of course, it's for children from 6 to 10, but it can also work for a little bit younger and a little bit older, and for families, for schools and libraries, for organizations working on the prevention among violence for children. So where we are and how do we do it? It's a complete universe. I don't believe that the medium can cannibalize another medium, but I believe the child has a right to choose the one that fits him the most. So what we do, we drive them through animated films, through audio tales, through augmented reality books, through audio-driven application, through relaxed theater performance, AR exhibition, and of course, inside of it, it's an educational program for kids, teachers, and parents. So let me go into the stories. So how we do? We choose a stigma we want to work on. So is it a physical abuse, social, mental health, bullying, or a pain of loss and death? Then we analyze familiar fairy tales, the ones that are known all over the world, like Cinderella, Princess and the Frog, Rapunzel, and then we twist them. And this is how it goes. The princess and her frog friend. It's the story about social status. It's about the princess that has everything and lives in a beautiful kingdom. And one day, near the castle, she meets a frog. Frog is just a frog, but she immediately falls in love with it and wants to be friend with it. But can you imagine in a kingdom? Nah, she needs to fight for the approval of the parents, for the king and the queen to approve it, but also the friends. They stigmatize the frog, but at the end, they surpass it and they befriend until the end of their life. So this story is developed together with children in Austria, Croatia, Macedonia, Malaysia, and Spain. This is me working with kids. And it's the world that I really enjoy the most. Why? Because when I asked them to draw it, I saw a beautiful illustration of a food. And I asked but what is this? And a child said, yeah, but this is a fly soup. And I said, what do you mean by a fly soup? And he said, come on, what do you mean by this question? You know that a frog eats a fly. And if someone comes into your house, you need to give them what they like and enjoy. So we want to eat the fly's soup. And it's drawn by Elali Miro. She's a Spanish illustrator. I can't show you everything yet because we're launching everything next year at the Vienna Design Week. So I'm just going to show you glimpses and pieces. And Real Rolf. It's about mental health and about asparagus syndrome and about teaching a child what does it mean if another child has an outburst. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's not something that is strange. It's not something that is uncommon, but something some children feel. They feel anxiety. So it's a story about a boy that is fully protected by the mother until the one day he steps out of the house and meets a friend, and then the story changes. So this one is developed together in Slovenia with children and child psychologists. Alan and the Magic Lamp. This one is developed in Montenegro. Why? Because there's still very traditional approach on how they raise kids. And it's all about the machism and having that machistic power. So what does the story tell and teach? Alan doesn't want to be a football player. Why? because all he wants to do is be a fashion designer. He wants to design clothes. He wants to be creative and not just to run after a ball. So what happens? One day, when he runs on the beach, he kicks something really hard. And guess what? The blue ghost goes out of it. We call him Lucky. But Lucky is not a superpower man or a superpower ghost. He's just a teacher who's going to show him on how to reach the dream. And in the end, he does. Video, please.
Najzanimljivim je bilo u priči kada je izašao duh Sleć koji tražio je Alenu da kaže svoje dvije želje.
This one is illustrated by Tom Schirdemann from Germany, German-French, and also working a lot with the children. And like Alan was developed also everywhere and tested and so on. Desire and the Snow Queen. Have you ever met a child with a Down syndrome? Do you know how they feel? Do you know how they express? They're full of emotions, but they're also aware that they look a little bit different. And it's not uncommon that this kind of children are bullied by the others. And also, she befriends with Costa, and they're both bullied because of their friendship. But with the help of the grandmother, they achieve and they also surpass the stigmatization. So this one was also developed together with children in India. And why India? They said the Western approaches and the culture don't work there. So I said to my facilitator there, an amazing woman, Ajay, I said, I want to do it in India. Please find a school. And I need to do it and test it and see if this approach is universal and if it works. And she said, but how can I find a school? Like our systems are really rigid. And I said, I believe in you. One day she calls me and she said, look, I have a good news and a bad news. And I said, what's the good news? She said, I found a school. And I said, is it in village? She said, yes. I said, is it completely outskirted? Yes. Do they have access to anything? No. I said, that's perfect. So what's the bad news? The principal said, I need to work with 70 children at once. And I said, wow, 70. But our method was designed for a maximum of 25. And then we worked. And she also said, they don't know we don't play the games and we can't call it desire. So what we did, we changed the names of the characters to localize it, to be appropriate for the local environment. But we also changed the games they play. So if they, instead of basketball, play cricket, we just adopt the storytelling. New Hansel and Gretel. A child loses a pet. A child loses a grandmother. Difficulties with facing the pain of a loss and grieving. And sometimes what typically happens is we don't just let the child to cry and to feel the pain. So this is what we do with this story. So this is about the loss and about Hansel and Gretel losing a mother. The father remarries. They can't handle the children because one is dealing with the obesity and the other one has huge aggressive outbursts. So they're just sent to a foster home. But what happens there? They learned how to love and trust again. And the story is co-created together with children in Dubai. And Cinderella. Cinder was our pilot episode. So in my world, how everything starts is always with a small experiment to test if something works or not. So Cinderella is a story about a girl that has only one leg and only one desire: to come to the dance, to dance, and not to marry a rich white male. And how does she do it? She succeeds with the help of the friends and the grandmother. And the story was developed in a small town in Slovenia where I was born, and how we did it. So as I said before, for me, everything is a frame in which things can happen. It's a play field. So I called a colleague of mine and I said, a child psychologist. And I said, look, this is what I want to do. I want to create a participatory method in which we read a story to a child. But I know the dialogues that we create, you know, the cartoons when the two characters speak, it's always designed by an adult. And this is not how the children speak between themselves. So what I want to do is work with them on the literacy, so they give the narratives and we enhance the story based on what they want to see, hear, and how they interact with each other. And then secondly, I want them to illustrate it. I want them to create the sound. So if there is a sound of the brushing floor, of breaking pancakes, or a wind, I want them to create it. And at the end, I also want to teach them on how to animate it. Why? Because when we asked the children, do you know how a cartoon is made? They said no. But I said, how many cartoons do you watch per day? And they say a lot. So you don't know how it's made? Okay, let's figure it out. So the method won Social Marie Prize, which is the oldest prize for social innovation in Europe, and that moved the project forward. So in the co-creation sessions, we just worked with them. We asked them, we opened the dialogue, and we asked them to illustrate it. When they illustrated, we went further. For each story, we analyze the color palette that is used by a child. We analyze the patterns, and then we start the process of designing characters. But how it's done? We don't just take one drawing. No, that's the solitary approach, and this is not how it works. So we take hair from one, a shoe from another, an eye from the third one. So we show them the power of the common approach. At this stage, when we have the initial ID, we go and test. We implement the color palette. We went there, I went there, and they said, yeah, it's okay. But I laughed. And they said, come on, be realistic. Like, not even one grandmother has a pink hair. And you know, the stepmother can be mean, but no one can have such a butt. So please be more serious and put a little bit more responsibility into it. We came to the studio and said, okay, this project is done. And then I said, no. So let's work until we achieve in drawing what they wanted to achieve. And what we learned is that when they draw, they really want to imitate the reality, but the skill set is not yet there. So this shows the integration, like everything is done by a child. Like each and every element, from the floor pattern, from the candle, from whatever you can see, and we just do it in a way so it's appropriate for all the mediums. And on, so it shows how the environment is created. And this one shows perfectly. If we gain like 7 castles, we just did 1 out of it. They also did the voiceovers. We didn't went for actors, but we went back to the co-creators and asked, who wants to take the role of the prince? Who wants to be the Cinderella? And then we brought them to the studio and taught them on how to create voiceovers for the film. The result? More than 20 awards all over the world, from the Courage Film Festival, from one of the main Indian festivals, from, I don't know, Dallas, Paris Women Festival, Out of Borders, Hero. But the one that I really appreciate the most is it was given at the time of the Cannes Festival. There is a platform that is delivered by a French paraplegic association. And they awarded the film because they realized it's a tool that can empower any child with disability to achieve more. And at that point, I said, okay, that's it. The prototype showed that we made it. Video, please. Thank you. If anyone wishes to see the whole film, please feel free to contact organizers or just me, and we'll send you the link. Audio tales. So this is how it starts now. So we have a set of audio tales that are already available in 6 languages. And what do? We search for really talented writers all over the world. We do the acquisition, and then we work with them. We give them a stigma. Sometimes we also give them a story we want them to rewrite. Sometimes they come with their own ideas, and then we just localize it to all the languages and create new versions. And also in the production at the moment is the sign language interpretation. But also, how do we do it? We don't do it with a sign language interpreter. Why? Because we believe it needs to be done by a deaf person. So we put them both in a studio. An interpreter is just there to support the sign language actor that really tells, like the deaf person tells a story to the deaf one. So soon launched. And then also, as a start, we started with a prototype of the Cinderella. So book is available in English and Slovenian language, but now in production, 3 new books coming out really soon. And the application already available on the App Store and Google. And what do? On one side, you can just listen to the audio tales in many languages. And on the other hand, we allow a child to create his own tale. So there is also a space when he can get inspired and then just record it, download it, share it, or just archive it and store it inside the app. Relaxed theater performance. Does anyone have heard about the term relaxed? So it's a completely new form of theater, adapted to all. It means that we create a theater environment that works for elderly people, so the sound is not too light. So the light is not too aggressive, but it's also accessible for the children with special needs. And how do we do it? We at the moment have a huge tour in Serbia. It was done, the concept and the art direction was done by a psychologist, Marko Pejovic. And it's done in a way that we always invite a so-called like normal school. And then we also invite children, a school with children with disabilities, a class. We put them together, and it's a performative dance, like enriched with audio and with participatory games. And at the point where the games start, they all need to learn on how in an inclusive and respectful way enrich and be part of this theater performance. So this one I really like. It's The Little Red. It's about sexual abuse and really to speak about children on the prevention. And what does it mean if a man touches a girl or if a girl touches a man? We teach them where the border is through this theater and relaxed performance, but also through the audio tale in order to prevent it. And also again, after the theater performance, we do a workshop with them so they can express their feelings. We teach them, like, what does our school system does? It kills the emotion. When I ask them, do the pedagogues ask you how you feel? They usually say no. Like, we are not talking, why am I sad or no? So we really empower them to speak about the emotion. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. Show the happiness. Just be truly authentic to how you feel. And also the sign language interpreter all the time together with us. So AR exhibition. Touring ahead of us, heavy production. So it's going to be launched next year in September. Vienna Design Week is celebrating 20 years. Around 40,000 people come and visit it each year, and we are launching the exhibition there. Again, touring in Barcelona already confirmed through our partners Fab Lab or IAC, through the Fluid Design Forum and our partner in Montenegro. We're delivering there, then going to Poland, etc. And in March, we're going to start to book like another bunch of the circulation. But it's all about participation again, and also introducing the technology, gigantic sculptures. the audio tales, but also the innovative technology that again puts a child in the co-creation process. Edutainment. We have at the moment around 30 facilitators working with us and just delivering our method and our storytelling. So what it is about? It's about introducing the narrative, opening up a dialogue. It's about self-expression through art and creativity, through theater, and it's about bringing these stories to life. So they can do puppet theater, film it, whatever form a facilitator and a child find it appropriate for them. And then immersion into the narrative so they can explore different perspectives. We also need to train our trainers really hard. Why? Usually when we do this kind of process with them, a lot of sad stories come out. And we need to be ready that a child sometimes reveals that it was touched by a father. And we need to know how to react and how to protect that child. So yeah, this is just to see what we've done in 2025. We've been in Austria, Croatia, India, Macedonia, Montenegro, Poland, Serbia, Slovenia, Spain, working with more than 350 children. So what it is about? Respect a child and his perspective. Encourage them to share their thoughts. Use appropriate and inclusive communication and create a safe space for them so they can be whatever they are. Encourage cooperation and teach them the power of the teamwork and encourage exploration. So just work on their creative skills and creative thinking on whatever a child needs at that moment. And if it needs a hug, just give them a hug. And production. It's like a cross-sectoral approach. At the moment, the team is around 100 people. IT specialists, artists, writers, sign language interpreters, psychologists, psychiatrists, designers, visual artists. So it's all about sharing knowledge between all of us. Because what I believe in, that the time of the segmented knowledge of math, chemistry, art, it's over, because we speak about the integrated knowledge and about solving the problems and the challenges. And it's about technology that is here and it's gonna stay here. So participatory framework, cross-sectoral teams. A big one, just a glimpse. We don't like to show our faces. We're really, really modest, and we believe that our impact really lies not the awards that we gain for the work, but the knowledge we give to a child. And we all really believe that we need to remind ourselves, what does it mean to be a human being? So Twisted Tales teach us the values of love, courage, and empathy, nurturing a society where discrimination and stigmatization have no place. Through the power of storytelling, these tales inspire us to embrace diversity, to foster inclusion, and to practice kindness. Yes, kindness. Be kind to each other. In such a society where individual is heard, seen, respected, but above all valued, compassion becomes the foundation upon which we build our futures.
So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. We are the world. Can you sing along? We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Okay, one more time, louder. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's it's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Okay, one last one. Okay? We are the world. We are the children. We are all one together. So let's start giving.
There is something that unites us all and my big, big team. And we believe that just living is not enough. And then one must have freedom, sunshine, and a little flower. Thank you.
¿Cómo ha crecido el proyecto con el tiempo? Crece y crece cada año. Impresionante. Sí. Cuéntanos, ¿cómo decides la inclusión de una tecnología en la adaptación de un cuento? ¿Cómo deciden qué tecnologías utilizan cuando están en la realización de una historia?
I create concepts. And out of the concept and out of the necessity, I also think about interaction and emotions with which to provoke. So what is the objective? I also design questions. Like, what do I want to achieve? Like, what kind of participation? And this is then, like, technology comes on its own. I never predict. Like, I never knew what's going to happen. It's just like being completely open to what can happen. And this is how actually relaxed theater performance came to life. Because we said, okay, but some children don't like to draw. Some children don't like to watch television that much. Some don't want to listen to audio tales. But what they want is expression through the movement and through the body. They love to dance. So let's just give them that. It's not about the technology. Technology is just the support system that allows you to do what you want to do and to create the interaction and actually to provoke the emotion you want to provoke.
Es hermoso el proyecto. Sara, ¿cómo lo financian? ¿Cómo lo desarrollan? Vos sos de Eslovenia. La manera de desarrollar un proyecto que va creciendo país a país. ¿Cómo fue el camino? ¿Cómo lo van haciendo? ¿Cómo van haciendo etapa por etapa?
So I start really small. I start with an experiment. And usually, like, when I was trying to get the finances in my home country, in Slovenia, I got rejected all the time. I still do, because they don't find our projects needed or innovative. So I said, okay, if Slovenia doesn't want my project, there is Europe. And I'm really appreciative by that, because I started with the Creative Media Europe funding, which at the time was really small. But I gained like 60,000 euros, and that kicks us off. Today, we closed down the budget of 2.5 million. But I was really doing like, cross-matching funding. But also what is damn important to say is that at one point I realized, okay, this is going big. And like from 60 to 300 and then to 2.5 million. And now we want to raise another 3.5 to do the complete series and to finish all the films. But I realized, okay, does the name sound familiar? Twisted Tales TV. Twisted Tales, it's the brand of Disney. And I said, okay, I need to protect this property. I had conversation with a lawyer in the state, with some of the lawyers and with some of the consultants. Everybody said, you're never going to succeed. I said, yeah, guess what? I am.
Mhm.
I am,
Mhm.
because I know how. So I found a lawyer that actually works also with the European Commission on the protection of authorship rights and also on AI. And I said, Vanya, I have a vision. I want to do it as an entertainment and teaching universe, as a new TV program. This is my vision. I want to license it in a way Netflix is licensed, but also for everything else. I want a merchandise. I want opera. I want this. And she said, okay, let's do it. I worked with her for 3 months. We submitted and we got approved. So today, Twisted Tales TV is a European intellectual property. And that's it. So my advice, just believe there is always a way.
Muy bien. ¿Quién quiere preguntarle algo a Sara? Por allá hay una mano, un micrófono, por favor, allí al fondo. Te van a preguntar en español seguramente.
No, I could talk
In
in
English,
It's okay.
okay.
Thank you. I just want to say congratulations. I find very inspiring in your story. Here. Hi. I find you very inspiring for me because I also work with kids, but with a very poorly way of living. So for me, it's very hard to hear like stories of you say of trauma, violence, assaulted. And it's like I'm not prepared for that. And also, I'm following graphic design, so it's like how I could fix or like mix my career with helping others. So it's like, how do you do to sell this idea? Because in this world we not is not all free, so if we have idea we need to have money, and also teach others that it's important to have also mental health, caring our new generation of kids, because in this world all the bad people is worse every day. We heard about wars and all those things. So how we as adults can we show that to kids, like it doesn't matter, like I could teach you and also parents, but first how can you sell that idea, and that is important, and how you work with your teams. Sorry, it's a lot of ideas and it's a lot of
No.
questions, but I'm very obsessed with this. But yeah, and how can you like create this environment like for children, but also with the team you work?
Okay, so how I do it? No is always a yes. I'm very modest, but very demanding. And I always know that if I can't do it in Slovenia, there's the whole world in front of me. And I know who I need, and I know what I know and what I don't know. I don't know like how to program. I don't know much about child psychology. So I always like search for the best professionals, like everywhere. And then I pitch the idea first to like, I do the talent acquisition. And this is how I then start. And I pitch the idea and I say, look, this is what I want to achieve. And why? Because I believe society needs it. So this is the reality. This is how I want to tackle it and how I want to respond to the problem or a challenge. This is the solution. Like, do you feel it? Do you want to come on board with me? And then I usually create a team of like same thinkers, and then we fight together. It's like the same approach that I take with children. It's not a solitary, because I can't conquer the world on my own. Like can I win something on my own? Really hard. But together and like empowering and creating what I do and what they recognize me, that I'm really strong, that I have such a strong vision everybody wants to follow. And this is what drives me. And also drives me, if I can't make it in one country, I will do a heavy research and try to do it in an opposite way. And if one strategy doesn't work, change it for 180% and it will work. Did I answer? Yeah. But just never give up on your dream.
Bien, ¿otra pregunta por ahí? Allá, aquí hay 2 preguntas más.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for your speech. It was amazing for me. I'm a mom, so I thought that it was very reaching for us. My question is if you and your team have the idea or you're open to work here in Latin America. I think a lot of children in Latin America have like very hard realities here. So I think like countries like Ecuador, they're very open, I think, for this kind of studies and ideas. So you and your team, maybe you're open to work here, maybe in Latin America. I think that these kind of ideas can like help me as a mom and my daughter and many children here. Yeah, thank you.
I would love to. I fell in love with your continent long time ago, and it's thanks to Damian. Like, we met 20 years ago, and he really opened the space for me. So I'm really grateful to you. And yes, I would love to work. I would love to have an opportunity to train the trainer, to conduct a workshop here, to show the work, but also to bring here our exhibition. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. And I think you all owe me a dance.
Seguramente.
It's fully open.
Bien, siguiente pregunta. Va a venir a Latinoamérica, sí. Ok. Siguiente pregunta.
Hello. First of all, welcome to our country. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Second of all, was it a big challenge, the language barrier? Because I'm here. Was it a challenge, the language barrier? Because here in Latin America, we mostly speak Spanish, but in your stories and all the children's, you speak like different languages with different cultures and different like experiences. So was it a challenge? Was it hard? Was it easy to do it?
No, it was super easy. Again, thanks to Damian. So during the COVID, we went to Chile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Metamorphosis has amazing producers in Chile. So after that, I approached Valentina Vale, and I asked, can you help me with the Cinderella? I really want to adapt it to the Spanish language. So she did a translation, we proofread it, and you also have an audio tale in Spanish language. So what's coming next is like new 4 audio tales in Spanish, and we cooperate. Our partner is Fab Lab. Are you familiar with the Fab Lab? So Fab Lab Barcelona belongs to IAC. So it's the school for the architecture, but it founded like the most innovative lab for education. And it was the first one. Today, there is more than 117 Fab Labs all over the world. So what do we do with the Fab Lab team is that they support us in localization to Spanish language and also on how to enhance our method so they become more innovative and approachable to the children. So yes, we're conquering Spain.
Bien, bueno, un aplauso fuerte para Sara. Tenemos que seguir con el día. Gracias, Sarita. Gracias.